All right, so this is part 2 of the writing equations in point slope form videos. Okay, so we're going over the second bullet point here. We're going to write an equation in point slope form when we're given 2 points on the line. Okay, now it's called point slope form. Okay, if I'm given 2 points, I have to have the slope. So my first step is always going to be to find that slope. Okay, so I have to have 1 point and I have to have the slope. If I don't have the slope, I have to find it first, okay? So just to review, point slope form is going to be this equation here, this form, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And just for review purposes, the slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, okay? We've already done example 1, so let's scroll through those and let's move on to example 2, okay? So in example 2, I want to write the equation, or an equation, because there's multiple equations here, in point slope form that contains the following 2 points, okay? So again, it's called point slope form, and I don't have a slope, so I have to find that first. So let's do that, okay? So we know the formula, y2, which is 1, minus negative 2, so that's why my numerator is 1 minus negative 2, divided by the difference in x's here, negative 5 minus 4. So negative 5 minus 4. In the numerator, this becomes 1 plus 2, which is 3. In the denominator, I combine those, negative 5 and negative 4 gives me negative 9. I can simplify this fraction to negative 1/3, okay? So I have my slope. I've got 2 points, okay? It doesn't matter which point you choose. It says write an equation in point slope form. It doesn't say write the equation in point slope form because there's more than one. So because there's more than one, there's 2 possible answers here based on this information that I could come up with, okay? So say Taj decides he wants to use 0.1 when he's writing his equation, okay? So he's going to plug in negative 2 here for y1. He's going to plug in the slope we just found for m, and he's going to plug in 4 for x1, okay? We've got a little cleaning up to do on the left side, nothing to clean up on the right side. So Taj's final answer would be y plus 2 equals negative 1/3 times x minus 4, okay? Taj would be correct because that's one of the equations in point slope form, okay? Let's say Sarah decided she wanted to use 0.2, okay? So when she plugs in her values, she gets y minus the y coordinate for 0.2 equals the slope that we found times x minus the x coordinate here, so x minus negative 5. So she doesn't have any cleanup to do on the left side, but she does have a little bit to do here on the right side, and what she ends up with is y minus 1 equals negative 1/3 times x plus 5. Sarah would also be correct. She used the correct slope, and she used a point that was on the line, so both of these answers would be considered correct. Okay, Taj and Sarah would both get full credit for their answers because they're both correct. Okay, let's look at part B here. All right, we don't have the slope yet, so we want to do that first. So y2 minus y1, 4 minus 3, over x2, negative 3 minus negative 2 in the denominator, okay? When I simplify that, I get 1 divided by negative 1, which gives me a slope of negative 1, okay? So that's the slope regardless of which point we choose, okay? So again, we've got 2 possible answers based on the given information here. So let's say Joel's uses the 0.1. So he would plug in the y coordinate here, 3. The slope we found was negative 1. And then for the x, he would plug in the x coordinate for 0.1. So he would replace x1 here with negative 2. Okay, there should be another parenthesis here. All right, so we clean that up. On the left side, y minus 3, nothing to do. On the right side, it'd be negative 1 times parentheses x plus 2. Okay, Joel's would be correct. He used the correct slope. He chose 0.1, and he did everything correctly, so he's correct. Okay. Let's say Jakari, on the other hand, decides to use the second point, okay? So he plugs in 4 for the y coordinate, he plugs in the slope correctly here for m, and he plugs in negative 3 for my x coordinate here, okay? He's got to clean up a little bit on the right side, so he gets y minus 4 equals negative 1 times x plus 3. Again, because Jakari used the correct slope, and he used a point that's on the line, he's correct as well. So both these answers would be considered correct, okay? So that's how you write equations in point slope form when you're given 2 points. Find the slope first, and then pick one of the points to plug into point slope form.